Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the zoo. The minions with me this evening are Camel
How's it going?
and Adam.
Hello.
How are you both doing this evening?
I'm doing all right. How about you, Adam?
That's good to hear.
I don't know. I think I've hit that point where you're running on like 3 hours of sleep, and then was it a second wind or something like that?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
I
just
don't know.
waiting for that second wind to hit right now, is what you're saying?
Something like that. I don't know. Like all day today, I was pretty tired, but throughout the day, some funny shit was going on at work, and it just kind of got me energized uh and so now here I am like uh
Fair enough.
yeah.
So, Camel, you already said that you're doing fairly well, right? So,
I'm doing okay. Yeah.
that's good to hear. And I'm doing well. I'm just prepping my dinner for this evening. I'm going to be making a fusion of fusion dishes because I'm going to be doing Japanese croquettes, but I'm going to be flavoring up the ground pork that I'm using rather than ground beef in somewhat of a chili verde style. So I'm going to have this chili verde mince with the ground pork and the onions getting thrown into potatoes with some good cheese, then left to dry slightly on the surface, paneing them, tossing them in panko, and then deep fat frying those sons of bitches until they're absolutely goddamn delicious. So it'll be a good dinner. Just it takes some work to get there. And hello, Tyrannus.
What's up, dear?
So, we have a few topics that we can go into. Oh, and I think I forgot to do my normal, and once again, it is Friday, so of course I'm the keeper for this evening's segment. Now that we got all the standard formalities out, which of the two topics do we want to start with?
Well, I mean, I brought a couple. Adam, is there anything you want to talk about before we dive into these two? I mean, anything going on? Anything new, interesting, exciting?
I don't know. I mean, in terms of I'm trying to think of just like a quick rundown of what I saw when I kind of tapped into the news outlets. I mean, outside of uh, impending wars and
Oh no, I meant like
and all
anything
that.
else you want to talk about in general, not news related, but like the news is shit. We all know this.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
I wouldn't be asking if there was anything new, interesting, or exciting if I was just wanting to ask about the news.
Well,
I'm about
I
to
mean,
depress the shit out of you, dude. I'm trying to, yin and yang, balance this shit out.
oh,
Well, the thing is, do you want to depress and then do you want to try to leaven the mood? Or do you want to leaven the mood, make sure that everyone's kind of riding high, and then just fucking ground them into the ground?
yeah, I don't know. Because
Well, obviously, I asked Adam first because my preference. Yeah,
uh,
I like to see the light go out in chat's eyes.
I
This
mean,
is the exact moment their heart breaks.
I don't know if I really have anything of noteworthy. I mean, um, it's pretty much just been.
Well, Tears got his vote in. He says depression first. I'm waiting for the cocaine to kick in.
Okay. So,
Well, there
That
you
should
go.
be pretty quick, dude. I'm not an expert, but I've hered from
well, it
reliable
depends.
sources.
Did you do topical, did you boof, or did you snort?
I don't think Tears boofing.
You don't think he is, you don't know he isn't.
I mean, if I was a betting man, I'd take the Vegas odds.
I say you go ahead and go first.
Go ahead and depress people.
Yeah, because it'll give me a chance to fix a drink.
Well,
you might want to make a strong one with this topic.
Yeah, you might want to pour a couple fingers at least.
I saw standard figures or sanguine figures.
Sanguine.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
He just gets a tumbler glass, one of those short tumblers, fills it up. Yeah, that's 3. Sets it down.
Well,
no. It just means I'm gonna be mixing this whiskey with this Sapporo I got for dinner. So.
And when I said that, I just to make sure picked up my whiskey glass. And yeah, 3 fingers is a full glass of whiskey for me.
See, I'm not all that fancy, man. I usually end up with like a Long Island iced tea or like Cowboy Kool-Aid. I don't do just straight whiskey. I don't have the palate for it. It burns.
Well, it depends on the type of whiskey, because the type of whiskey determines how much the whiskey will burn. So American whiskeys tend to be on the harsher end due to the number of times that they're distilled. You have American whiskeys and Canadian whiskeys.
I feel like we've been through this before, Sanguine. Like, my top shelf is like Wild Turkey, all right?
I'm still going to go through this. So American whiskeys tend to be single distilled, which means that they are a fair bit harsher on the palate. Now, you can have really good ones that mellow out beautifully due to their aging process. And
I'm just waiting for Gunsky to show up in chat asking how you spell it. Let's not get off on that tangent tonight, okay?
And then there's Irish whiskeys, or sorry, Scotch whiskeys are next. Scotch whiskeys tend to be double distilled, so they come out smoother. And then you have Irish whiskeys, which are triple distilled. And that's the reason why Irish whiskeys tend to go down like water.
So I need to save up some cash to get an Irish whiskey, is what you're saying.
Well, you can get Irish whiskeys for not very much. If you go for like a Whistler or a Jameson.
I told you, man, my top shelf right now, Wild Turkey.
Which is how much per bottle?
I have no idea. It's been so long since I've drank whiskey, okay?
How much what, alcohol?
No, I'm trying to remember how much
price point
bottle of Wild Turkey costs.
Oh, shit. Well, it depends on where you live, man. Usually, for just your standard Wild Turkey 101 bottle, probably
I live in an area that's too poor for Jack Daniels. I see more people drinking Evan Williams.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's actually what I got. I picked up a couple of these little Evan Williams shooter things for 99 cents.
Yeah.
Nothing fancy.
But, hopefully you've all had your drinks poured by now, because first topic out the gate is assisted suicide.
Yep.
He said laughingly.
So I'll let you set the field before we all jump in on it.
I was scrolling through Twitter earlier today, and I came across a tweet from Ben Shapiro about 12 hours ago that he posted. And it's a 2.5-minute video clip, but the text of the tweet says, "Some are calling assisted suicide death with dignity. A society that starts to demean life itself in favor of dignity gets into really ugly territory, as we're now seeing in Canada. Life is worth preserving because life is that valuable." I don't know what night it was. Probably one of Johnny's, but Sanguine and I talked about the case up in Canada with the soldier who was going to Veteran Affairs for help with his PTSD, and the person on the other end of the phone suggested he go ahead and just, seek assisted suicide.
And Camel forgot the most damning part of that conversation.
I didn't forget it because it wasn't in the story that I read about it, but you had another tidbit to go along with that blew my fucking mind.
So
go ahead.
For those who don't remember this or didn't see this when it first came out. So when that story came out, one of the things that the person pushing for assisted suicide said was that he had just helped another service member go through with it, and that he was now helping that service member's grieving family. So if this service member goes through with it, he doesn't have to worry that his family will be left alone, because he'll be there to help his family through the grieving process as well.
Again, never served a day in the military, but that sounds like some Jody shit to me.
It does. It also sounds pure fucking evil to me. Trying to push someone towards suicide and saying, I'll even talk to your family. Don't worry about it, man.
Yeah.
Just start your shotgun. It's all good.
Just go ahead and throw a hose in that tailpipe.
Yeah. So, let's continue on with the story, though.
Anyway, one of my mutuals that I don't really interact with all that much popped up. That's why I ended up seeing it. I do follow Ben Shapiro. I follow a lot of people, actually.
But he gets down-regulated so fucking much.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't really see him in my timeline. I think it popped up because this other person that I'm following also responded to him, and he was bringing up, fatal conditions, chronic pain, and I understand that rationale. The problem is like we got these other cases that are popping up or have been popping up, where it's not fatal conditions, it's not chronic pain, it's mental health. And I don't know, it struck a chord with me because it seems like mental health is a root for a lot of issues that we just seem to dance around it and try and treat symptoms instead of the actual conditions. Mm-hmm. I brought up the Canadian soldier with PTSD. There was also a recent story, I don't know, a month or two ago now, of a Danish girl with PTSD. She had been through a terror attack, like an actual terrorist, Allah Akbar kind of shit. She had been not physically injured at all. She was just at the location that it happened. And she was suffering from PTSD. I think she had spent some time in a mental clinic and went ahead and went with assisted suicide. In the article I read, they said that there were other options that had not been explored for her treatment. And that was, I think they were trying to get the doctor's license pulled, or there's something. I cannot remember the exact details of it. I'd have to go back and find it, which is a little difficult because when I type in Danish girl assisted suicide, a lot of stories pop up.
Yep.
Like a lot.
It's something that has become
going back
a bit
years.
Of a refrain.
Like I have, I pulled up like just two of the top stories, and they're from 2019 and where is this one from? 2018. So 3-4-year-old stories. It's not like this is just this one isolated incident in Canada. It's countries that tend to have assisted suicide policies are getting a little lax.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. I know people don't like the whole slippery slope. This looks mighty fucking slippery in my estimation.
And again, it's because we forgot the most important part of the argument, and we made an argument that was slippery out of one that was fairly concrete. So yep.
I know why we haven't been able to find that story, or I haven't been able to find it now. Assassin just pointed out. We mistook a Belgian girl for all these different Danish broads.
Ah, okay. That was the Belgian woman that had that happen. So
3 countries at least.
Yeah. The thing is that we had a fairly decent argument when it came to this. early on that wasn't slippery, because we had the argument that
terminal illness,
illness,
no chance of recovery,
and one of the major criteria was insufferable physical pain.
Yep.
So you have cancer that's causing you to need to get a PCA pump, PCA, patient-controlled administration. So if someone has certain types of cancer, it causes horrendous pain. They end up needing a hell of a lot of narcotics in order to deal with this pain. So they get a PCA pump put in, and it's normally a morphine PCA pump. So they just have a bag of morphine, and they have a pump that they hit a button and it gives them morphine. Now, there's a certain max dose that it will not go beyond, but that max dose gets increased as they're dealing with their PCA pump because their tolerance grows. If you have a PCA pump and a terminal disease where you're going to die in excruciating pain, I don't think there's very many people that would go, no, you need to live. Most people are fairly okay with saying, okay, yeah.
THUR brings up something in chat. He says, Danish, Canada, Belgium, it's all not American land, so it's all the same. Well, you'd be wrong, sir, because we have assisted suicide in America.
Yep.
Oregon specifically. I don't know if there's any other states at the moment that have assisted suicide, but you, as an American, maybe even as a foreign national, can go to Oregon and seek assisted suicide.
Yep.
So when I say slippery slope, it's getting mighty slippery.
We went from this argument of you have horrendous health condition that you're going to die in pain due to.
I'm going to go ahead and use like the anti-communist domino theory here and say, hey man, we might want to be, on the lookout because it's spreading.
Yep. So we had that argument, and it was a good argument. It was a strong argument because it was one that people kind of have innate sympathy towards, and they want to help people that are going to die in horrendous pain. And we do have this idea of to force them to continue living in pain would be about torture. It might not quite meet the criteria of torture, but you would be going, that's pretty damn close to torturing someone. And then at a certain point, it became someone has not a terminal disease, but an incurable disease. And it went from horrendous physical pain that they're going to die in agony to pain. They stripped away physical. And then that opened the door to, well, I have depression. It's an incurable disease or an incurable syndrome. It's this problem that I will always have. I have this. It is something that I'll always have for the rest of my life. I have panic disorders that I will always have for the rest of my life. And it causes me psychoemotive pain. And no, that it should have just been tossed out immediately because we should have gone to, nope, terminal, incurable, and extreme physical pain. Those should have been the three criteria. And yep, it is very much the safe, legal, rare thing of safe, legal, rare had 2 concessions and 1 agreed point. And the 2 concessions were from the right. The concession was legal because the right didn't really want it to be legal. But that was a concession. From the left, rare. Because the political left of the time, some elements of it, rather, didn't really care about it being rare. They just wanted it to be possible. And what we had was safe, legal, rare. So those two concessions, and then everyone could agree upon if it's going to happen. Of course, we don't want people dying from it. So we want it to be safe. And then we saw attempts to undermine rare. And then we saw people start abandoning legal, because if you're going to ignore rare, then fuck it, the deal's off.
Well, Sanguine, I do want to bring up something else about this that pops into my head. I responded to Assassin earlier because he was asking, can I force Oregon politicians into that? And it's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still got to be, of their own volition. But I mean, again, we're talking slippery slopes, folks.
Yep.
So you remember that girl who got charged for egging her boyfriend on when he was going to kill himself?
Yep.
It could end up, I made a point in that thread when I was responding to that fella. Dr. Kevorkian was 1998. We're coming upon 25 years from Dr. Death, right? This is where we are now. Imagine where we'll be in another 25 years. That girl won't even get charged. It won't be a crime.
And again, the problem is that
or something to that effect. Something in that ballpark where you'll have mentally ill people where you've got somebody else egging them on.
Yep. And again, it went from an argument that was concrete and well defined.
I mean, hell, you could probably end up having that now if it was going on, if it was adopted wide enough.
We had a concrete, well-defined argument, and then people undermined it. And it's just like one of the arguments that pisses me off the most when you're talking about slippery slope arguments is the worst argument for any political movement that I've heard in fucking ages. The born this way argument. That is the worst goddamn argument because it opens the door for fucking everything. It should have never been born this way. The argument should have been, it's two consenting legal adults. What the fuck does it matter to you? That should have been the argument. That should have been the start of the argument. That should have been the end of the argument. Because as long as you meet those criteria, yeah, it doesn't fucking matter. Two consenting adults, two consenting legal adults doing something on their own.
Oh, holy shit. She's already out of prison.
The bitch is out of prison already?
She got released early. Because I had to look that up because THUR said that she didn't get charged. I was like, I could have swore she got charged and convicted. She got convicted of manslaughter. But, the story from CBS News, January 2020. And 23-year-old Michelle Carter, convicted of manslaughter for encouraging her boyfriend to commit suicide, was released from jail in Massachusetts on Thursday. She served a 15-month sentence, but was released more than 3 months early. She only got 15 months.
That's fucked up. Yeah, that shit pisses me off because that was it a COVID release again, by the way? Because 2020.
Well, no, this was January. This was January 2020.
Okay.
This was stories from January 23rd, and Trump shut down travel from China on the 30th.
Yep.
So they hadn't even started releasing people from jail yet for that.
This is pre the COVID releases, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that definitely plays a part in it, Green Badger. But again, like I said, 25 years from now, won't even be charged. At that point, you might not even have men getting charged for talking other people into it. At the rate we're going.
Yeah, it's infuriating the shit because again,
because there's a legitimate reason for it,
yep.
And it's being abused wildly.
There's a legitimate.
I'm not in the same boat necessarily as Ben Shapiro, and it's like, oh, all life is valuable and precious. Some people, I'm fairly pro death penalty. Some people need to die.
Yeah,
and then there's some other people who are in, such pain that, but that's, like I said, physical pain, not psychic pain, not emotional pain.
Yep. It has to be physical pain.
It's crippling, debilitating disease that is going to kill you. Anyway, yep. It's giving you the option of, dying, in a hospital bed or, going out with your boots on, so to speak.
And what I'm willing to bet is the hardcore no position that Shapiro's taking is partially a calculated stance. I'm willing to bet that if a situation was laid out that the person was absolutely going to die, that it was horrendous pain, they had cancer mets to the brain, all the treatments have been exhausted, it is constantly dumping pain chems into their body, that Ben Shapiro would go, okay, yeah, in that case, that isn't life anymore. That is hell on earth. Because that's the thing that tends to happen. You take a really strong stance and then you can be argued back from it. It makes political sense why you do this. It doesn't make sense to do it in your actual life. But it makes absolute political sense because then your opponent has to argue you away from this hard stance that you don't really take to a softer stance that you do actually. And I'd be surprised if this isn't one of those situations where
Shapiro said all life is valuable. He didn't say all, but he said life is valuable. And I did read the body of the tweet, didn't I? Some are calling it suicide, death with dignity.
Yep.
Society that, yeah. But that's a life. Life is worth preserving because life is that valuable. Is the last line.
Yeah, like I said, to me that seems like a position that you would take to have someone argue you back from.
Yeah, because I went back and looked up Dr. Kevorkian to see the timeline, right?
Mm-hmm.
You remember who he was using assisted suicide with?
It was terminal cancer. Oh, ALS. Okay.
ALS, terminal cancer. Yeah, I mean these are people who were dying, horrible, painful deaths.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some sympathy for his cause back then.
Oh yeah.
He was obviously the media loved it because think of the headlines. But I mean, there were people who were understood where he was coming from. They may not have agreed with him. They may have been on the complete opposite side from him, but they could see where he was coming from. Again,
and
we're coming up on 25 years.
Hold on. Let me just chime in.
Yep.
I would say, and the slippery slope. Wow, Adam, slippery slope.
You did pour that strong, didn't you?
Well, oh yeah, it could. You said sanguine finger, so right?
We did. Yes.
It could have been prevented. The problem is, and this is for a lot of these issues. the slippery slope conundrum could be prevented when you just say no, and the rest of the people say like, all right, you got what you wanted, no more. And when they, oh yeah, well okay, but you know what about, no, that you wanted Jello, you got your Jello, now shut the fuck up and go enjoy your Jello. We're like, what in the fuck are we? Oh, but this guy wants
But now I
this.
want ice cream.
No. Well, no, we're not talking about ice cream. He got the Jello because he asked for the Jello. He petitioned. He did his thing. He got it. There you go. Fuck off. That's what needs to have happened, because exactly, Kevorkian, Dr. Death was mainly with those types of patients. And honestly, this is where it's like, I have, if you are in so much suffering and pain and you're comfortable enough with the suicide route, if there's a means to do it that you can do it, that's painless and whatever, and you're writing your own, that's you, that's go for it. I have my personal views on it. Like, I don't think it's right, but at the same end, that person has free will, and I'm not going to sit here and try and persuade them otherwise. That's on them and God. I mean, that's 100% that. And that's why it's like, I understand some of the reasoning, is because this is kind of how I view the death penalty. Is, a lot of people are like, oh, no way, and it's like, dude, when you get a guy like John Wayne Gacy, you wouldn't sit there and be like, okay, yeah, he definitely deserves it. We have all the evidence. He's pretty much gloating about it. Yeah.
Let me show you my rope trick. Fuck you.
Yeah. It's one of those. I think it's okay that we can sit there and say, yeah, let's pull the lever and drop the floor and watch him dance the jig of death. Like, I think we should be okay with that part of it. The problem I see with a lot of people, though, is these are very dynamic topics, and I can understand a lot of people feeling uncomfortable even dwelling a little bit into it.
Yeah, because it's one thing for a disease to be incurable at one point. It's another thing to say the disease is incurable, full stop. A good example of this is
bubonic plague.
Well, I was going to go for one that is far more common. Type 1 diabetes.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
Type 1 diabetes was a death sentence. I cannot stress that enough. Type 1 diabetes, less than 100 years ago, was a death sentence. You had it, you survived for a little bit, and then you fucking died. There was no long-term treatment. There was no long-term ability to keep the person alive. They would die. And then an absolutely brilliant son of a bitch was able to prove what at the time was called the anti-diabetic principle. And it was then later named insulin. Because when we were dealing with type 1 diabetes, we had no clue what the fuck caused it. We just knew that, oh, this is what we're calling this disorder, diabetes. So in a normally functioning person, they have something that prevents this. We'll call that the anti-diabetic principle. We had no clue what the fuck it was.
Can we call it the anti-sugarfoot process? Because that sounds a little softer.
That would have been fantastic. But sadly, they went with the anti-diabetic principle.
Damn it.
That was something that was being looked into. And there were a bunch of attempts to figure out what the anti-diabetic principle was. And it has never been successfully isolated. every time it failed. And then I believe it was Canadian scientist who, he wasn't an endocrinologist, he wasn't a pediatrician, he was a very, very good surgeon. Went to, I can't remember which school of endocrinology, and begged a professor to give him a student from the school to help him perform an experiment and to allow him the dogs to do it. And he begged this person. He damn near got on his hands and knees begging, because he knew that he could come up with a means of isolating the anti-diabetic principle. And he was given one summer, one grad student who volunteered, and I think it was 24 dogs. 12 of them.
Wait, did you say
healthy.
24 dogs?
24 dogs.
Doggos, puppers?
Yep.
What the fuck?
Half of the dogs were healthy. Half of the dogs were diabetic. And his plan was that he was
How the fuck did they give dogs diabetes?
Well, dogs can have diabetes now.
I know. I just love the image of fucking. They're like, all right, these half of the dogs, don't give them any, just give them regular kibble. These dogs, feed them Fruit Loops mixed with Lucky Charms and fucking Cocoa Puffs, and just constantly give them peeps, just nonstop treats and shit.
So, what the surgeon did was he took the dogs that he was given, and he took 2 of the healthy dogs, because he wasn't sure that his method would work exactly, and he didn't want to end up potentially killing all the dogs. So he took 2 or 3 of the healthy dogs, and he put them under anesthesia and performed a surgery, which was to tie off the pancreas, or tie off the islets on the pancreas with cat gut. And the plan was, after tying them off, he would monitor the dogs, he'd be feeding them normally. And what he believed would happen is that as the islets were tied off, so nothing could come from the islets to the rest of the body, the dog would slowly develop diabetes. And that would be part 1 of the proof that he had isolated the anti-diabetic principle. Part 2 is that he would then go back in and harvest the now shrunken pancreas, which doesn't have pretty much anything in it save for what it was secreting itself, and he would be able to test that and see if it could reverse diabetes in a diabetic dog. It would end up killing this dog, sadly, but it was something that, if it worked, it would save hundreds of thousands. So he did the experiment, and he performed the surgery on 3 dogs, waited, I think it was 4 weeks. No, it was 3 weeks. Sorry, 3 weeks. And then was checking the entire time to see if the dog was developing diabetes. The dog started to, but then all of the dogs that he had performed the surgery on suddenly reversed. He performed a surgery to figure out if the suture that he had, if the way that he had secured it, the way that he tied off the islets held, the cat gut had been dissolved. there was no longer catgut tying off the eyelets. So he then had to get silk. And about half of his time that he was allowed to perform this experiment was gone now. So he had just a little bit longer that he could run it. Also, the majority of the dogs that were diabetic were already starting to die. So he didn't have enough dogs left to ensure that he would be able to perform the procedure and do his secondary test. And his first test had failed utterly. He got silk. He operated on the remainder of his healthy dogs, tying off the eyelets again, this time with silk thread. A few of them died due to complications during surgery, sadly. He was left with one dog at the end of his time, and he was given a full summer, like I said. He had already used 3 weeks of it, almost 4 weeks of it, so about half. He continued the experiment. They didn't shut down the experiment at the end of the summer. He took it 2 weeks longer, then performed his surgery on the one dog that survived. That was healthy, that he had tied off. It had developed diabetes in the 6 weeks that he had run the experiment now. And when he opened up the dog, the pancreas had shrunk as he had predicted. And when he extracted the substance from the shrunken pancreas, it was able to deal with sugar. And when he injected it into one of the, I think there were 2 surviving diabetic dogs. Those 2 surviving diabetic dogs no longer presented as diabetic. Now, it was a temporary fix, but he had managed to prove that the anti-diabetic principle was in fact from the pancreas, and he was also the first to isolate the anti-diabetic principle. This is what caused insulin to become something that we're able to produce, and people that have type 1 diabetes, or diabetes in general that's insulin-controlled diabetes, we're now able to treat because this one guy did that experiment. Before that, insulin-dependent diabetes, completely impossible to treat. It was a death sentence. But then he figured it out. So yeah, even if you have that hard criteria of incurable, terminal, hellish physical pain, you would still need to constantly review it and find out, is this thing that was incurable still incurable, or do we now have a cure?
Well, see, that would be a slippery slope that I would approve of, as opposed to just allowing, oh, okay, well, I don't think, somebody, I broke up with somebody, so now I feel like I need to kill myself. Yeah, go ahead and kill yourself. That is a bad slippery slope. Good slippery slope would be, yes, let's see if we can cure this disease and try and help people. Like I'd much prefer that pathway.
Oh, okay, so we're still talking about the slippery slope. Okay, because I came back to talking
I tried to rope it around. I don't know.
Talking about insulin, yes.
Yeah, I had to step away to do my rounds. So
I saw. Yeah, I was explaining that in the hard criteria that I would want as the criteria for whether or not assisted suicide should be available to someone. Even then, it would be a constant check to see if this is still incurable. Because I use the example of type 1 diabetes, which was incurable, it was a death sentence, and then we figured out a cure. Or a treatment, rather. It's not a cure, but we figured out a treatment. And we were able to make something that was a death sentence no longer a death sentence.
Assassin is taking admin task in chat. He says, there is no good slippery slope. That was scientific discovery. Do we want to go ahead and move on to, because we've been going 45 minutes on just this. Well, I don't know, 40 minutes. I mean, we did talk about Sanguine's dinner.
Yep. Or I guess I could spend 30 minutes explaining turn of phrase, but sure. No, yeah, okay.
Well, if that didn't depress you enough, I have other man-made horrors for you.
Well,
wait, hold on. Do we want to have Adam lighten the mood by going on a rant about turn of phrase?
I mean, if you want to take that as a palate cleanser, I'm game.
Or depress people even more, and then try to come up with something in order to lighten the hearts again.
Well, no, I'm here to break people's wills, Sanguine. I'm not.
I know you're going to, but I think Adam and I are of the inclination that we shouldn't just leave people depressed enough that in Belgium or Denmark or Canada that they would be able to get assisted suicide.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Or Oregon.
Oh yeah.
Or Oregon.
Not to sound callous or anything, but I don't think it really. I mean, yeah, it was a depressing story, but I mean, I'm not.
No. The depression in this is looking to the future, Adam. We're on a trajectory. Look to the future and see how bleak it's going to get.
Yo, come on, you're talking to Adam. This is Adam Jones here. I've been telling you that these are demons. Like, look, I already. This is why I'm like, of course, and especially that it happened in Canada or any of these other areas, where they would be so cavalier about doing it. I mean, come on, this fucking.
Since you referenced Uncle Alex, do you got your tinfoil handy? I'm trying to segue into this next one here.
You act as if there's ever a point where Adam doesn't have his tinfoil.
Well, the reason I ask, I don't know.
Some people were born with silver spoons in their mouth. Adam came out with a tube of Reynolds wrap.
Not everyone's a Boy Scout, all right, and not everyone is prepared at all times. So I'm not, I'm grading on a curve here. A slightly different slope. If you
hold on. Am I obligated, Sanguine, since both Bug and I made point that we didn't finish the Boy Scouts. We were kicked out or left for various reasons, but yeah. So yeah,
I didn't even make it through Cub Scouts, man. I wanted to get to the guns, and they weren't having it that early, so I lost interest.
Yeah, I got kicked out.
I
got kicked out of
Boy Scouts. You. Oh no, yeah, it was you with the fucking dude with the stick.
Yeah, the crazy guy.
The fucking Cub Scout master son.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, damn. See, sorry, man. It's been dyslexic day all day. But
I got to talk about that story here.
But yeah, go ahead, Camel. With
this was published about about 3 o'clock in the afternoon Central Time, because we're all on Central Time. That's the only one that matters here tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's from CNN. CIA Inspector General dings agency care of early Havana syndrome victims. Are you familiar with Havana syndrome, Adam?
Are you talking about that creepy, all of a sudden you feel sick and disoriented and
the mysterious illness that plagued specifically CIA and
Government.
officials.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's like CIA and
they had
State Department. I think are the ones that have been most affected by
really
it.
And
particular targets. Yes.
Yeah, embassy staff, right? Yeah. But I read this earlier and I was like, holy shit, because I've heard it pop up from time to time, just here and there, randomly, about Havana syndrome. And we talked last night about the Team House podcast. That's one of the places where I heard it more about it than mainstream news. The CIA Inspector General has completed a review that has criticized the agency's handling of the initial cases of a mysterious affliction known colloquially as Havana syndrome, U.S. officials said Friday. Originally, they were just brushing it off, I guess. They didn't understand it. They thought some of them, may have been, they were skeptical if the injuries were even real.
Yeah. People thought that people were malingering.
Yeah.
Rather than actually ill.
Yeah.
Well, in a bit of good news from the Biden administration.
That's fucking rare.
Right? They're taking it more seriously. They've expanded care and resources for individuals that have been, I don't know if I could say, would you say diagnosed? I mean, it's afflicted. Yeah. They're even compensating individuals because some people were actually forced into retirement with this. They were dealing with vertigo, with where did you say some of the other symptoms?
It's vertigo, nausea. Shit, Adam, do you remember all of them? Because it was a fair laundry list.
Yeah. Who was it? Yeah, Assassin. Focused microwaves. Yes, it pretty much.
Well, that's one of the working theories, but there's like a dozen cases because they've managed to actually exclude some people, from other known causes, is what this article is saying. Yep. But there's still, there's still like a dozen or so where they don't know how this came about that they were afflicted.
And of those, a lot of the symptoms seem to be that type of disorientation,
brain trauma.
Yeah, brain trauma.
Yeah,
and
you can tell in fMRI, if I remember correctly, that there's something fucky with the brain.
Or psychosomatically induced because it has a name.
But then again, like, I mean, a lot of this stuff isn't new. This shit's been going on since the 60s. So
been going on since fucking Castro, effectively.
Yeah. There's been didn't Castro even say that he was affected by something like this?
Well, I'm saying that it's been going on since Castro took power, effectively.
Yeah.
There's a report that they're working on. They had an interim report in January. Majority of the cases could be explained by known means, but about 24 cases remain unexplained, which the government vaguely refers to as anomalous health incidents.
Mm-hmm. Which makes it sound like some SCP shit.
And this is covering a period from 2016 to 20. Well, the report they're waiting on, the one that the interim report's referencing, covers a period of 2016 to 2020 and remains classified. But yeah, they're dispersing compensation to some victims. They're expanding care and other resources to others, and so on. Whereas originally it's like, we don't know what this is. May not be real. Go about your business.
Yep. Like I said, originally there were worries that people were malingering, so they treated them like malingerers.
They treat them like what?
Malingerers.
Malingering is a term.
No, I know. It's
okay.
It sounded different.
Adam was thinking of Pineapple Express. Lingerers, man. They linger.
Oh, jeez. Okay, I'm trying to inject some levity into.
I caught it. I caught it.
All right. um.
I'm just making sure. I use a lot of words and people go, the fuck? And then I have to explain it. So
Well,
asking me
you
about
know,
a word, I have to
hey.
explain it normally.
Hey, we're just keeping an eye out there. Keeping a watchful eye.
Well, that's
Yes.
where my tinfoil comes in, Assassin. It's like,
yeah, I just read that.
The ones that seem to be getting the most attention for Havana syndrome are like spooks.
They are.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, so like, is it legit? Is it not? Is this is this some psyop bullshit? am I getting played? Like, I don't know what's going on, what to believe, and it's like it could equally be a real deal Holyfield kind of thing, or it could just as easily be bullshit. I'm teetering here,
Yeah, it tends to be spooks, embassy staff, DOD staff.
The ones I've heard the most about has been either CIA or state.
Yep, like I said, there's also a fair chunk of DOD that get caught in it, but it tends to be the more information side of DOD, shall we say?
I'm just saying, it's like I'm not hearing about like an embassy janitor, who's got vertigo now and can't explain why, Because when I first heard about it, it's like, oh, it's affecting embassy staff, and it's like, oh well, this is a CIA agent, that's a CIA agent, that's a State Department guy. Is there a secretary?
Well, come on, since we still have our
something to do with a mop and a bucket?
hats on, can't we say the same with? Oh shit! Look at this mass shooter, and it's all over the news. But then you start looking, and it's like, oh shit! The parents worked for the government. Oh shit! They have family members who were part of the CIA. Oh, that's kind of a coinky dinky,
I mean, like, I'm like I said, part of me is inclined to believe that this is real because worst case scenario,
Well, hold on. I don't want to say nothing because, unlike Alex Jones, I don't have $9 billion. No, $9 billion to pay for the settlement.
So. Well, no. I was going to say, it's like, on the one hand, I'm inclined to believe it because I'm a pessimist, and the worst case scenario here is that somebody has access to weapons or material that can cause this mysterious ailment.
Mm-hmm.
The other part of me just immediately thinks of that meme with the dude with all the fucking file cabinets open, and like, the government would never. And then you got like Operation Northwoods. You've got MK Ultra.
Okay, hold on.
See, that's where I was expecting Adam to go when he first started.
That's why I asked if he had his tinfoil ready. I had mine.
Well, I was just about to say, all right, so since we have our hats on, if you want to have a little interweb of
Tears going straight history channel here. Aliens.
Hold on. Do you want? Okay, I can talk about 3 different things right now that come to the top of my head that we can talk about. Okay.
Why do I feel like one of them is Whitey Bulger?
Wait, who?
That would be impressive if it was.
Oh, do you not? Is this something that neither of you know about? Who? Whitey Bulger? The Irish
I know who Whitey Bulger is. I also know he got beat to death with a padlock.
Yeah.
Yeah, but do you know what program he was a part of?
Hold on. You know what? I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna go hit the loo because of that fucking.
You broke the seal, didn't you?
Well, it's the fucking. That was a lot of whiskey, dude. Yeah, and also I don't want to lose the topics that I had at the top of my head.
All right, go
so
ahead.
We'll be right back.
So, have you not heard of?
Was Whitey and MK Ultra like?
Yes, he fucking was.
I knew about him being an informant. I believe you were the one that told me about him being
FBI
in
informant.
MK Ultra.
Yep.
I think this was it after a show, or did we actually talk about that on stream?
I think it was after that we talked about it, but it might have been on stream. But yeah, Whitey Bulger was during his first arrest. It was during the early days of MK when they were doing it to offenders, and he was arrested. He was in prison. He met the profile, so they offered to reduce his sentence if he participated, and he said yes. And apparently it was the greatest regret of his life.
Well, THUR, you better get that fixed, man, before the Greys like turn you into a Manchurian candidate to Aloha snack bar, the reptilians in their quest to conquer the Hollow Earth. God, I've been listening to Jack too much.
Yep.
That just rolled right off the tongue.
But yeah, that is just one of the things that it's, what the fuck when you hear about it. Because yeah, who would go Whitey Bulger, MK Ultra? Fuck yeah. No, everyone should hear about that and immediately be going, bullshit, and then have to look it up and go, son of a bitch.
What got me, like, when, because I don't think I heard about Whitey Bulger until, I think the first time I ever heard about him was after watching The Departed and find out that's, you know, who Jack Nicholson's character was based on. And then didn't really hear about him again until he got caught. God, what year was that?
I want to say
sometime in the 2010s, you know, early 2010s.
Yeah.
Because I was still watching MSNBC back then. I was like early 20s. Because I remember Lawrence O'Donnell talking about it on his show. Because he's a Boston guy too, you know, or Massachusetts, what have you. And it's like, I was like, wait, that dude's been on the run all this time, and they found him in Santa Monica, not like in Mexico or, you know, some non-extradition country, just hanging out by the pier. Really? And you know how they caught him, right?
It was
he and his missus got into domestic.
Yeah.
Been on the run for like 20 years, 30 years. And like his woman just decided to step out of line one day.
And it was quickly pulling up when he was arrested.
I want to say it was like around 2012-ish, give or take a year or two.
Yeah, I know that it was in June, and I'm trying to figure out when the fuck this thing was. Okay, so this was from 2011, and it was in June of 2011 that he was arrested. That's when he went down. And then he got beaten to death in 2018.
Yeah, they transferred him from like. Did they have him in like a? They didn't have him in a Supermax or anything originally, did they?
I think they did, and then they transferred.
They transferred like to like somewhere in like West Virginia or something like that. And within a short period of time thereafter, he was beaten to death with the padlock and a sock.
It's a way to go.
I have other ways that I would find more preferable.
Yeah, that's why I said, you know, you'd want to talk to Dr. Gavorkin.
No.
If it's all of a sudden,
if I had my druthers, I'd like to go at the around age of 90, shot by a jealous husband.
See, I was thinking that you were about to say the old heart attack in a whorehouse line.
Can we go at the same time, kind of thing?
For tinfoil hat, I really gotta say, The other night, it seems that there was some crazy explosions going on over the FBI building. And
Wait,
it's on
crazy
YouTube.
explosions going like the Hoover building, like the FBI, like DC.
Yeah, in Washington D.C. And if I don't know if either of you have the ability to pull it up, but if you look on YouTube, Land
second.
Lease, I think the YouTube channel is called.
Land lease.
Land Lease.
Oh, land lease.
Yeah, I think it is. But if you look FBI or explosions in DC, FBI, and you look within the past few days, you should be able to find it. And it's this dude just live streaming.
Land speculation.
Land speculation, yes.
Live explosions at FBI headquarters, Washington D.C. Streamed 2 days ago.
Yeah.
How long is it? That's almost an hour long.
Yeah,
and it's weird. It's weird.
I'll check that out afterwards.
It's so it's at first it's like big explosions, and then later it's like little bursts. But yeah, Adam Jones, what are they doing at the FBI building? Is it a coup going on? Who knows?
I don't know, man. That sounds more like the body than it does Uncle Alex. No offense.
Oh, whoa!
He's just asking questions.
Yeah.
See, I can't do a good Jesse impression. I wish I could, man. I'd have so
I don't know
much fun with that.
I'm just asking the questions.
The thing is that you need to go really breathy towards the end, like you're just completely fucking running out of air in 3 words.
Listen,
I'm
kind of retarded. Oh, I know. Shit, yeah, but yeah, that there's that, and then of course, all the aliens and stuff are coming. So
see, growing up, Jesse was my flavor of conspiracy theorist. Because
who?
Jesse Ventura.
Oh, Jesse Ventura, because he goes to the place.
Well, no, because
it
was because growing up, like Mama Campbell's family, they were into pro wrestling. He used to be a pro wrestler, and then Predator, action movies, and then it's like, holy shit, he's running for governor. What?
Yeah, he's a governor.
Not a very good one, but he did it.
I mean, are actors ever really good governors?
Well, some of them have been.
I mean, he's asking the questions.
I mean, you got maybe one that I can think of.
Thinking Reagan.
Yeah.
Reagan.
And I'm pretty
governor of California.
Yeah. And he was governor of California when California wasn't shit.
Yep.
But I mean, like, I can only think of 3 actors that have been governors, and that's Reagan, Schwarzenegger, and Ventura.
Let me quickly double check because I'm pretty sure there's more. Actors that became governor.
The last thing I remember hearing about Jesse was that lawsuit he had with Chris Kyle. And for the life of me, I don't remember that part of the book. I remember reading American Sniper, but huh?
No, it's I see Arnold and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I just compelled to. That weird Arnold.
Yeah.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Oh, no.
No, your Arnold sounded like it was Arnold in the Vinegar Strokes.
Yeah, well, I'm not very good at impressions.
I meant Adams.
No, yeah. That's why I was like, it was like really bad.
That's Arnold shortly before his wife walked in.
I swear.
I'll
I
make
didn't
one
mean to do
caveat
the
to what
mid.
Assassin just said. Like, he did not sue the widow. He sued Chris Kyle, and then Chris Kyle died. So the lawsuit was against his estate.
Oh no. Well, at least he made off better than poor Hulk Hogan. Oof.
Yeah, not much to say about the Hulkster anymore, is there?
Nope. Sorry, brother.
Yeah, when I was a kid, it was during the New World Order arc. So like he was decked out in like black and white. I was too young to catch the full Hulkamania.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, you weren't infected with the Hulkamania.
Coming at you, brother.
Jesse was UDT though, wasn't he? Do they not get counted into? Well, I mean, I've heard, some people count them as being a part of the SEAL tradition, and others don't.
There's a lot more actors that have become congressmen than have become governors, apparently.
Whoa.
Really?
Okay.
Well, I know Fred Dalton Thompson was a senator.
Hold on. Do I need to put my tinfoil hat back on? Was Jesse never really a Navy SEAL? I don't know.
Technically, no, Adam. He was not. He was
Yeah.
a member of the underwater demolition teams before the SEALs.
Oh, damn. Well, okay. We debunked that.
Because when did the SEALs start? That was under Kennedy, wasn't it? What, 60s?
Let me check.
The UDTs was before that.
Yeah.
Man.
62.
62, that's right. And then Special Forces, they love Kennedy because wasn't he the one that authorized the wearing of the Green Beret?
We are uncovering all sorts.
Now,
of
I think
shit.
that would be a question more for Assassin instead of having to look it up.
Look at this.
The Navy said, "Yeah, sure, whatever."
Actually, John Wilkes Booth didn't kill Lincoln.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. They found out it was his estranged wife. She was very... Oh my God. I can't believe I'm reading this.
I disagree.
I'm trying to figure out what the fuck you are reading, let's be perfectly honest.
I know John Wilkes Booth killed Kennedy. I saw it happen, man. The whitest kids they recreated it.
Stop beating my ass!
Oh no.
He's breaking my butt. Quit breaking my butt.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to the woman, John. Just calm down. Just calm down.
Wow. Okay. So, what were the other topics that you had?
Oh, we've run through my topics. Now we're just bullshitting.
Oh shit. Okay.
I know Sanguine's partial to the Grapist skit. I like the sniper business one. That's probably one of my
the
favorites.
Grapes of Wrath. What?
No. I'm in Oklahoma. I'm not a big Steinbeck. I'm not a big Steinbeck fan.
The Grapist is fantastic, as is the bucket of PCP and the.
Oh no, the gallon of PCP.
A gallon of PCP, yes, the gallon of PCP and the.
Wow, I didn't know I didn't know they sold it by the gallon.
Holy shit!
Yep. And the baby head seeking bullets is also a classic.
Yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, like the sniper business one is probably my favorite one. Like, I built this company from the ground up with my own bare hands.
A gallon of PCP is how you make the bootleg Hulk. Boom.
There were so many good bits that Trevor Moore did.
The what?
Oh, on the Wise Kids, you know. Trevor Moore. Unfortunately, he passed away. Is it 2 years now?
Oh.
Now that's another one that you could get some tinfoil on, Adam. Right there is Trevor Moore.
I just looked it up, and Kennedy did, in fact, do the Green Berets are allowed to wear Green Berets, and fuck it, let's just name them Green Berets.
Do you know how Trevor Moore died, Adam?
Who? Trevor? Who?
Trevor Moore. Did you ever watch The Whitest Kids You Know?
No.
Oh, you gotta check that out, man. That was on IFC back
Classic
in the day.
old school catch comp.
Hold on, is he the third? Because I heard, and this might be a fairy tale, but I'm trying to sound Canadian, by the way. But celebrities,
I haven't heard you say a boot, or hoser enough to sound Canadian.
Nor sorry.
Well,
or sorry.
Well,
yeah.
we like to pepper it in every now and then.
There's been no reference to maple syrup. I mean, you're dropping the ball, dude.
Okay, well, I'm trying to say this while I'm eating my poutine.
And none of it's been in French yet. You gotta get in trouble with the language laws.
He's not a Quebecois, so.
Jus de la Zinalon.
I think you need to sound a bit more drunk in order to get proper Quebecois.
Definitely more gay too.
Oh shit! Come on,
Everything in French sounds gay, Adam. That's just a rule.
It's softer. Okay.
That's why my French sounds German.
Well, holy shit! Well, that's.
And I'm talking old school German, not the Mein Handy German.
What's a Mein Handy?
It's a screwdriver.
Oh.
No, my handy is
my screwdriver.
Nope, my cell phone.
Screwdriver, like the drink?
Yeah. The handy is the cell phone. Mein Handy.
Is that one of those things where like there's two different words that sound similar? Because I could have swore when Scribe was doing the whole Mein Handy, all that bullshit back on Lords of the Night, I could have swore he said it would translate to screwdriver. I could just be misremembering. I smoke a lot of weed. And I don't get very much sleep.
I probably go through bushels. If you saw
Yep, cell phone is handy.
Okay. I misremembered then.
They're gonna be honestly, I think it'd be fun to write an old Stilla in cuneiform about how many bushels of weed I smoked a year.
And the one that he said was the screwdriver was the other word that he said, which was Schraben or Spieher. Schwaben Spieher. Or Spire.
Okay.
Yeah, Sphere, sorry.
Get the fuck out of here.
The second does the talking.
Hold on. Assassin of the Grey says, any man who speaks French as his first language is not a man. Any man who chooses to learn it gets homo suspicion points TM.
What if I only know one phrase in French and I just picked it up?
Is it omelette du fromage?
No. I don't know. Hold on.
I can order a cup of coffee in French. That's it.
How many English words that were influenced by French is he speaking on a daily basis?
Well, hold on. That's influenced mainly by Old French.
Get out of here. It's influenced because it's influence.
And Old French was Frankish and Norman.
Yes,
French.
And Charlie the Mange, I think, well, he probably, I don't know what he spoke. I don't even think he was Frank, wasn't he? Wasn't he one of those? Never mind. That's a different tangent I don't want to get into right now, but
Charlemagne was not fake. Charlemagne existed.
I didn't say that.
Okay, so Assassin's letting me off the hook. He says that's being forced to interact with frogs so you can get a cup of Joe. All right,
Or
I'm in the
he-
clear.
Hold on. Is Assassin like British or something? This
No,
is
he's American. He's a New Yorker.
Oh,
Look, anyone can get behind the hatred of the French.
yeah, no, yeah. Hey, this
I
is
picked
America.
it up just because I love The Simpsons as a kid. Bonjour, you cheese-eating surrender monkeys.
Even French countryside people can still get on board with hating some French. It's just that they limit it to Parisian French.
Some French even want to hate some other Frenchies. Frenchies? French? I'm not going to say it.
Frogs.
No. But
The French hate the French. Everyone hates the French. It's a
Well, okay.
universal concept, yeah.
I don't know. I just I find it goofy.
The French are non-fantasy elves, let's be honest.
But no,
What?
Adam, going back to
Elves are fantasy French. French are non-fantasy elves.
No, they're usually British.
No. The English tend to be the humans in fantasy.
What are the Welsh?
Well, there's a debate whether the Welsh are...
Why was there a
When-
pause?
People are
no,
trying to
I was
figure
actually
out...
thinking, it's like, what would the Welsh be?
Yeah, when people are trying to figure out which group is the Welsh, or what group the Hobbits were, there's two arguments. It's either the Hobbits are the Irish or the Hobbits are the Welsh.
Oh, no. Hey,
I'm not big on
Then-
the mythology or anything. I never
Hobbits
read
have not
Tolkien or
fucked any
anything.
sheep.
I was gonna say, it's like I don't remember
Wait, did they get
hearing
fucked by
about
sheep?
the Hobbits blowing a bunch of shit up in any of the Lord of the Rings movies, so I'm not
That
counting
would be
the
Northern
Irish.
Okay, hold on.
The
I
Welsh
was
are
gonna say
warlocks.
I was thinking about it earlier. Well, actually yesterday.
The Welsh are about as tall as hobbits, let's be honest.
Well, Assassin's saying dwarves, TUES saying Morlocks.
No, because the dwarves tend to be a combo
Mountainous.
of fantasy Scots and fantasy Jews.
All right, Yi. Oh no. Oh.
No, Sanguine, I've been sitting here trying to get back to Whitest Kids You Know, because Adam is uninitiated.
Wait,
Uh,
what?
And assassins claiming that I do not know that the hobbits haven't fucked sheep.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Wait,
It was never covered in any of the literature.
well, he didn't say they didn't.
He didn't say they did, but he also didn't say they didn't. Adam, did you ever watch like Kids in the Hall or anything like that back in the day? No? I'm trying to find something to relate it to. It was a sketch show. These 5 dudes who got together, I think in college, wasn't it, Sanguine?
I think so, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I recognize some of the actors that were in it, only because I recognize Kids in the Hall as being a springboard, much like there's some other.
Yeah, like Dave Foley and Dave Foley's really the only one that I can name off the top of my head from Kids in the Hall.
I'm trying to remember the short fat one's name.
Oh. But with the Whitest Kids You Know, that was early 2000s back on IFC.
Yep.
And like that first, I remember a buddy of mine in college showing me like YouTube videos of like clips and stuff from Whitest Kids You Know, and just that first season alone, it's like that's fucking hilarious because they had the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. They had I think Sniper Business.
What?
Yeah, the different skits they did. Assassin saying the short kid was Bruce McCulloch.
Okay.
from Kids in the Hall.
Because the short, fat one gets a lot of work.
Oh, there was one. There's one. I don't remember the name of that sketch they did, but like kid's buying weed from his drug dealer. Like his drug dealer comes over to the house to sell him his stash, and his parents come home right as they're about to conduct business, and so he he puts a lampshade. It's a black dude too, which is So he puts a lampshade on him, like just trying to hide him. Parents obviously like, who is that? What's going on here? And he's like, I bought him. You did what? And he's like, watch what he does. And I think he like claps his hands, and the dude starts just like playing like bongos, singing and shit. Like, make it stop. You gotta get him out of here. Okay, mom. Sorry. They leave. He's like, that was close, man. Whew. So can I buy a 20-sack?
Mm-hmm.
How's the curly kid?
Kevin McDonald, Scott Thompson, Mark McKinney. Okay. Yeah, those names, they sound familiar. I'd have to go to like IMDb to put the names to the faces. Because, I mean, I missed out on Kids in the Hall. I grew up watching like news radio, and that's how I became familiar with Dave
News
Foley.
radio was fantastic.
Of course, when you talk about news radio, you got to obligatory, R.I.P. Phil Hartman.
Mm-hmm. And fuck Andy Dick.
That man has been responsible for multiple deaths in Hollywood.
Yep.
Because, what was that dude's name on Suddenly Susan that committed suicide? My mother blamed Andy Dick for that dude's death.
Wait, why did she blame Andy Dick for that?
Because kind of the same reason people blame him for Phil Hartman's. He was doing drugs with that dude and got him like spun out so bad.
Yeah, and for those.
Oh yeah, Tier's right. Don't fuck Andy Dick. That you're gonna catch something, most definitely.
For those who don't know, when it comes to why fuck Andy Dick, when it comes to Phil Hartman, do you want to explain it, Camel?
Phil Hartman's wife. What drug was she on? Antidepressant. Was it Prozac?
I want to say Prozac, and then she got hooked on.
Well, no. Like she was on like an antidepressant or an antipsychotic.
Yep.
Or a cocktail of the But Andy Dick, he was doing coke with her.
Yep.
And you mix all that shit together and throw in a revolver and
a sleeping husband.
Murder suicide. So he's a cog in that machine of unfortunate circumstances.
Shit, I would say that he's more than a cog. I'd say he's the drive handle.
Well, I mean, like I said, she was on other shit too, and he probably didn't start that fire, but he definitely poured some gas on it.
Yeah, it was fucked.
Phil Hartman's also one of the reasons why I decided very early on to never get married. Like his wife did what now?
Is it considered enabling
on Andy Dick's part?
Yeah, on the wife or on Dick's part, yeah.
Well, I mean, like I said, he probably didn't start the fire, but he definitely poured some gas on it in the form of Peruvian marching powder.
And I've seen a lot of commentary on how, that's how it's viewed. That's
Phil Hartman is a perfect example.
He didn't have to do anything with his wife to get to that point.
Phil Hartman is a perfect example of money's not worth it. Just leave. That's why they're still together. He said, was it Joe Rogan was talking about him way back when, before he hopped over to Spotify and everything. He's telling one of his. No, I think he was talking to Dave Foley actually to bring it back around because they were talking about Dave Foley's circumstances. Adam, do you know Dave Foley can't go back to Canada?
Why not?
See, hate speech now?
No. Well, I mean, maybe now, but no. He has a judgment against him up in Canada for child support.
Huh.
For what?
Child support. His wife divorced him when he was coming off of Kids in the Hall and News Radio, like the height of his earnings in the entertainment industry. And the judge in Canada hit him with a ridiculous amount of child support. I think he owes like millions of dollars in child support for his, I think, 2 kids.
And he doesn't make anywhere near that now.
Yeah. His being banned from Canada really a punishment. It is if your kids live in Canada.
Yeah, dude. I mean, if
he can't see his kids unless they come to the States.
And that's
which I don't know how old they are now. I think maybe they're legal adults. But I mean,
it isn't
I think
that
the
he's
judgment's still against him.
It isn't that he's was a deadbeat dad. It was his wife, his ex-wife, kind of knowingly fucked him over.
It wasn't just that. It was the judge royally fucked him over.
Yep.
Because when he pointed out, it's like, I can't pay that. I'm not making that kind of money anymore. I don't have that job anymore. Mm-hmm. The judge flat told him, your ability to pay does not negate your responsibility to pay.
Yep.
So even though you can't make the money, you still have to pay that money.
Yep.
And it was during that interview that, well, not interview, but during that podcast that Rogan and he were reminiscing over Phil Hartman, the news radio days, and it came out. He was talking. Joe says like, I talked to Phil about it. I told him to leave. He's like, I can't leave. It's like, come on, man, it's half, just whatever. He's like, it's not half, it's 2/3. She takes a third, the lawyers take a third. Mm-hmm. It's worth it, dude. That's why divorce is so expensive. It's worth it. Run. And I'm not saying that like, just as marriage in general, but like that bitch was crazy.
Yep.
Yeah. Run.
That bitch was crazy and apparently hanging out with Andy Dick, which is enough reason to fucking
and had access to firearms.
I don't know. I don't even need the access to firearms. Just
like I said, that's just a cherry on top.
Hang out with Andy Dick.
That's just the cherry on top of this shit Sunday, Sanguine.
Yeah.
It's sad that he was fucking brilliant. One of my favorite SNL fake commercials is one of his. Do you guys remember The Chameleon?
Oh, no. Not top of my head. Honestly, with the fake commercials, there's only one that sticks in my mind, and that's the Peyton Manning United Way one.
The Chameleon's the one that sticks in my mind because it was just fucking hilarious. It was Phil Hartman being Phil Hartman and his fantastic, completely deadpan delivery of shit.
Oh, yeah.
He's talking about how, do you want the latest in luxury cars, but you're worried about people trying to steal from your car or steal your car in general? After all, we all know the crime rate in New York nowadays. Well, fear not, for we have the answer. The latest in luxury. The top-of-the-line model, the Chameleon. And he shows a car that just looks like a normal four-door sedan, but the windows are just absolutely fucking caked in filth. The car is completely fucking rusted out. Beat to shit, dents and dings and holes and all kinds of shit in the car. And he's talking about all of the amazing features on the Chameleon. Not only does it look like an absolute piece of work, and he's walks over, grabs a marble out of his pocket, puts the marble on top of the roof, and it rolls to one side, falls into a hole, and you, throughout the rest of him talking, just hear this clink, roll, clink, roll, clink, roll, clink.
Like some kind of
roll.
Rube Goldberg machine or something.
Yep, as this marble is just working its way through the fucking car. And he is talking about all the amenities of this vehicle. And you're looking at this car going, this is a piece of shit. He opens up the door. It is fucking marvelous on the inside.
Yeah. Okay.
And he continues talking about it, how no one will ever dare steal the chameleon for fear that it is absolutely what it looks like. And
shit.
At the very end of the commercial, it just zooms in on the tailpipe of the chameleon for a second as the marble, which has been clink roll throughout the entire fucking commercial, rolls out of the tailpipe and falls to the floor.
See, my favorite bit of Phil Hartman would probably, I mean, obviously, Simpsons, you got, his different voice acting on that, like was it Lionel Hutz and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I would probably say I'd have to go with So I Married an Axe Murderer.
That's a good one.
You ever see that one, Adam?
No.
His head is huge. What's he going to do? Go and cry himself to sleep on his enormous pillow?
Head, pants, now.
It's as big as Sputnik!
That's a good one. You should check that out. Mike Myers movie. Had Anthony LaPaglia in it as his best friend.
It was Mike Myers before Mike Myers got...
Before Austin Powers, yeah.
Infatuated with Mike Myers.
Is that where he got his Scottish accent?
No, he got a Scottish accent from his father.
Oh.
But like with So I Married an Axe Murderer, like he plays it up like his dad is, like a... I think he's got, what was it like? He's got pictures of like Sean Connery and who else on his mantle? Because his dad in the movie is also Scottish.
I think it was, wasn't it Sean Connery, and then it was like Billy Connolly or someone like that.
There's like 2 or 3 of them actually. I'm trying to remember. I mean, I'll pull up the IMDb, but yeah, my favorite bit from Phil Hartman is he's the ranger doing the tour on Alcatraz. John Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is something that other tour guides won't tell you. In this particular cell block, Machine Gun Kelly had what we call in the prison system, a bitch. Mm-hmm. And one night, in a jealous rage, Kelly took a makeshift knife, or shiv, and cut out the bitch's eyes. And if that wasn't enough retribution for Kelly, the next day, he and 4 other inmates took turn pissing in the bitch's ocular cavities. This way to the cafeteria.
Mm-hmm.
My name is John Johnson, but everyone here calls me Vicky. Yeah, that's another one. Head, move now.
Mm-hmm. And
tell your father to turn down the Bay City Rollers.
The one thing that I always think of every time that I think of Phil Hartman is actually a news radio line.
Mm.
And it was the episode where the reverb setting on their microphone for the station is fucked, and they tried to get Joe to fix it. And he keeps trying, and it's just fucking up every time. And then Phil Hartman gets on the mic, and he starts speaking, and everyone hears the reverb as it's going out on air, and Joe's happy because it's finally fixed. And then, damn it, I forgot the guy's name. The one that we were just talking about.
Dave Foley?
Dave Foley goes up to Phil Hartman immediately after he comes off air and goes, "That's amazing! The mic actually worked." And Phil Hartman, still speaking in reverb, goes, "No, I've just gained the ability to reverb off the inside of my own skull. The only problem is that it causes me to black," and he just collapses. It was perfect.
Oh man, what was that one he did with Sinbad? I'm trying to remember. I vaguely remember that movie now that I think about it.
He did one with Sinbad?
It's the movie that everyone always gets the name of wrong.
Oh, he was in Jingle All the Way too. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie. That is a classic Christmas
House
movie.
Guest.
Yes.
House Guest? What is that?
That's a Sinbad and Phil Hartman movie.
Oh wait, yeah, that's the one where he pretends to be the
1995.
dude's friend from college.
Kevin Franklin is a con man whose mouth is bigger than him, but it doesn't help him much when he's in with the mob for $50,000. Trying to avoid a gambling addict boss and his two stupid henchmen, Kevin poses as a childhood friend to Gary Young, a workaholic father whose own life is in turmoil in an affluent Pennsylvania suburb.
But yeah, he had so many fucking amazing roles and was just such a damn good comedic actor. Again, mainly because he did what used to be the norm when it came to comedy, but then people forgot how comedy works. And you had a bunch of comedians, and unfortunately, one of the main ones that kind of led the charge in this was Mike Myers. We were just talking about a really good Mike Myers comedy, but Mike Myers kind of led the charge in the say a joke, then look knowingly at the camera and wait for the laugh style of comedy. And he started it kind of as a joke against other comedians that were doing that and were not successful, and then he started doing it seriously. And that fucked everything. But the way that you do comedy is you deliver the jokes like they're fucking normal. Like they're any other goddamn line that you could be uttering. Don't say the line and then have this, you're laughing, right? Moment. Fuck you. No. You say the joke, you move on. You have the, surely you can't be serious. I am, and don't call me Shirley. So here's what we're going to do. You don't give it a room to breathe. You don't put a pause in it. You just say the line and continue the fuck on. Because that's what makes it funny. The line, don't call me Shirley, in and of itself is not amusing.
He needs to go to a hospital. What is it? It's a building where they take sick people.
Yep. You just have to play it off like it's something completely normal, and that's what causes it to be funny, because you're going, what the fuck? It's that split second of, yeah, they said something, wait, no, they didn't, that makes you laugh.
Yes.
And that's the reason why I've talked about it so many times before. I love the old school comedies, like the there's two movies that I always confuse the name of. Top Secret, and the other one is
Spies Like Us.
Spies Like Us is another really good one, but that isn't the one that I confuse. Spy Hard. It's Top Secret and Spy Hard are the two that I always mix up. Top Secret's the one with Val Kilmer.
Yep.
And it's one of Val Kilmer's early roles. And that movie is fucking hilarious. Because it follows several rules. One is, if there's a joke in front, there's no joke in back. If there's a joke in back, there's no joke up front. That way, jokes are given a little bit of breathing room. But then their other rule kind of countermands that breathing room aspect, because their other rule is that when you deliver a joke, do not pause, do not give it breathing room. Just continue on and deliver it normally as you possibly can. And those two rules in conjunction make that movie what it is, and make a lot of the old school spoof movies what they were. And then spoof movies started giving every joke room to breathe and having gags in front, gags in back, and just doing shit tons of reference comedy, which made them absolute horseshit.
See, I liked my spoofs when they were more focused. Like I liked. I mean, of course, the Naked Gun series.
Yep.
That's where like me and my 6th grade teacher, I lost respect for her because she loved me as a student, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's one of those old school elementary teachers,
Yep.
And we got along famously until she started complaining about some actor. And she said, he used to be a great actor.
Leslie Nielsen. Yep.
Yeah. Well at first I didn't know who she was talking about because she couldn't remember his name off the top of her head. And that's one of the reasons why she loved me is I've had that extraneous bullshit just ever since I was a kid,
Yep.
I can't tell you what I had for lunch yesterday, but I can, tell you about, some obscure movie reference or something like that from 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So she's going on and on about this actor. He was such a great actor. He did serious roles. He played Lafayette. I was like, who? The Swamp Fox. He played Lafayette, and he was, a great dramatic actor. And then he started doing those movies. What movies? That slapstick comedy. And then I think she referenced one of the Naked Gun movies. I was like, oh, Leslie Nielsen, he's hilarious. And we just started hating each other after that.
Yep. Yeah, Leslie Nielsen was in a bunch of serious movies. Some of them really good. Some of them god awful. There's one movie, I'm trying to remember what the fuck it is. It's a horror movie where Leslie Nielsen plays one of the most insane people I have ever seen any actor portray. The dude immediately goes
He was great in Creepshow tier, yeah.
He immediately goes to, fuck it, I get to claim the women as my own, and they are mine. I will kill you with this fucking spear.
Prima Nocturne.
Yeah, the movie was about this group on a hike, and then animals start freaking out and trying to kill everyone. And he's just this businessman that was sent out to kind of relax. So he's from the cities, he's kind of quick talking, and then he just descends into this woman mine. And you're going, what the fuck? What the fuck is this shit?
See, now I only remember him from one of the vignettes in Creepshow, and that's the one with him and Ted Danson. Do you know which one I'm talking about, Sanguine?
I know I should, and I just can't place it in my mind.
I think he finds out like Ted Danson is cheating, or like his wife is cheating on him with like Ted Danson or whatever. And so he buries them on the beach up to their neck in low tide. And like did he put like a bucket over their head or something like that? Well, he had them like far enough apart, but they could still like see each other and talk, whatnot. The tide comes in and they drown. Yeah, I can hold my breath a long time. That's right, Tyr. Yeah. But like they come back from their little watery graves and they dole out the same in-kind treatment to him. And that's where that line comes from. Like, I can hold my breath a long time. I can hold my breath a long time. As he's freaking out as the water's getting closer to him. I remember that one. I remember I remember the one with the creature in the box under the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember the one that actually had Stephen King in it, where the asteroid, hits Earth, and he goes and checks it out on his little farm there, and he makes the mistake of touching it,
Mm.
and then he ends up just like growing like this green kind of fur on him. Eventually, it gets so bad he just I think we said earlier, starts a shotgun. Meteor shit. Yeah. Yeah, because when he touches the meteor, like this goo comes out. It cracks open. It gets it on him. Like, why would you want to touch that?
Curiosity.
Yeah, but I mean, just like a
Seems
basic
weird.
understanding of science, be like, that should be really hot. It just came through the atmosphere at a very, very fast rate of speed.
Yeah,
Maybe don't go try and touching a hot rock that fast.
Curiosity.
I don't know. Maybe call a scientist. Like, what the fuck?
You move your hand towards it very slowly. That way, if it is really hot, you're able to tell, and you can stop yourself from touching it before you do. But if it isn't hot, then you touch it, and
it was still smoldering.
Curiosity.
That thing was
he's
dumb.
just an idiot.
Yeah.
Because, the way that I would do it, if I was prone to touch something like that, I would move my hand towards it very slowly, kind of feeling the temp off of it before I decide to touch it or not.
Tyr says, but you have to remember, he was a retard and incredibly unlucky. He was also played by Stephen King, so yeah.
That just reminded me of... I've only, to my knowledge, been banned by 2 people.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I know of being banned by... Actually, no, I've been banned by more. But at this point in time,
I thought you were like the most blocked minion.
I am, aren't I?
Yeah. I'm catching up, but like I'm still a good ways behind you.
The most blocked minion?
On Twitter. On Twitter. It turns out a while ago, Prospero found this thing. Was it Prospero or was it Inquisitor? One of them found this thing.
I think it was Quiz. I don't remember who it was that found it. But like you were like what in the 700-800s?
Quiz, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, so it was this thing that allowed you to figure out how many people you had been blocked by. So Inquisitor showed, and he was still on Twitter at the time, and he had been blocked by like 200 people or something like that.
Those are rookie numbers.
A couple other people chimed in, and the least blocked person was blocked by sub 100 people. And then there were some like 180s, 200s, 300s, 400s. I think Prospero was at the top for a while with 600 something.
I want to say like I'm somewhere in the 500 neighborhood. But I mean, I can't take credit for all those. I mean, with the blockchains and stuff they got going on now, like there are people that have blocked me. I don't even know who they are.
Yeah, and then I decided to click on the link and see how many people I had been blocked by. 900 fuckers, apparently. I just got blocked by fucking everyone. Though,
damn.
Let me quickly double check before I say this, because I think it's still true. There's one
Stephen
person...
King block you?
Stephen King hasn't blocked me. I got blocked by N.K. Jemisin because...
Who?
Another writer.
Oh, okay.
And I got blocked by her because Stephen King had said something about his favorite authors, and N.K. Jemisin chimed in, well, all of them are white males. What does that say about you, Stephen? And I said...
It says he's old.
That he's reading books and that those were his favorite books. All of them are really damn good authors. What the fuck does it matter? And there was a comment that I also made of when I see someone's favorite author list, I don't think to check the race of everyone. The fact that you did, I think, says something more about your view on race than his.
Well, like
for that, I got blocked.
I will maintain. I don't hate Stephen King, but I do like poking fun at him because he's a very successful person, but he's also a shitbag.
Mm-hmm.
So like I joke that my favorite Stephen King movie is Maximum Overdrive because that movie is so terrible. And do you know why it's so terrible?
Why?
Because Stephen King was so high off his fucking tits on cocaine, he decided to direct it himself.
Nice. And I can still say this. Of the like 900 something people that have apparently blocked me, according to that thing, I am still not blocked by Steve Shives.
Oh, that was my first one. I went ahead and ripped that Band-Aid off like within 24 hours of being on Twitter.
Do you know who the first block that I had was?
Who?
Was fucking Lee.
I haven't heard that name in a minute.
Yeah. Remember when Wosley was amusing? He was kind of like the other Drunkle.
No. See, okay, stop. You know how Terry says that he can't listen to Drunkle because he finds Drunkle's voice annoying?
Yep.
That's how I feel about Woz.
Yeah, Woz definitely had an annoying voice, but he kind of had...
He had funny material. He had funny lines, but I could not listen to his delivery.
Yep. It was somewhat, like I said, like a bootleg Drunkle.
When you order Drunkle off of Wish.
Yeah. It was bootleg Drunkle that was Wosley. But Wosley was the first person to block me. And I still find that fucking hilarious. Because for those who don't remember, Wosley was originally one of the people that was very much a, if you block people, you're a pussy.
Mm.
And then
Wosley,
he swapped sides.
That name sounds familiar. What kind of content did he do?
Oh, he was back in the old Skeptosphere.
Yeah.
Oh.
What got him was the same as what got a few other people.
The election of Trump.
I was going to say the Discord server.
No, because even after
he was in that
server,
wasn't he in that Kraut server?
Yeah, he was in the Kraut server, but even after the Kraut server shit, he hadn't completely swapped.
I'm going to step away for a second. I'll be right back.
That swap happened when there was the, oh God, we memed Trump into existence bullshit.
Oh.
And he did his heel turn about the same time that, like, Fane did his. So that's the time frame that we're talking about. Back when Fane did his heel turn was when Wosley did his as well. And he turned hard, and then shortly thereafter, I think he was going after Sinatra for something. And I chimed in on him going after Sinatra. And I got blocked for it, which I just found fucking hilarious, because now I can say that I'm not blocked by Steve Shives. I am blocked by Wosley. Fuck Wosley.
I think I see him from time to time on Twitter, so I don't know.
He used to be funny.
He
used to be funny when he didn't take himself or anything else too seriously. And then he decided that everything needed to be taken painfully seriously. And he did the thing that annoys me about a lot of people. It doesn't bother me if someone changes their opinion, because shit changes. You look at your previous decisions, you look at your previous opinions, and yeah, there are times when you'll go, you know what? I was wrong in this. That's not a problem. That's just life. You change your opinion as time goes on.
You change your perspective, gain new evidence, new insights. Yeah.
Yeah. The problem that I have with that group, though, was not a one of them changed their opinion and then came out and said, this is why, this is the thing that made me change my opinion. They all just changed their opinion and then started saying, fuck everyone. And I'm going, dude, why did you change your opinion? If you just came to some ridiculous realization that made you reshape your entire worldview, fucking let people know what the hell it was. Because who knows? If it changed your mind, it might change theirs. But if there wasn't anything that should have changed your opinion that changed your opinion, yeah, everyone's going to go, well, that fucking idiot changed his opinion over fucking nothing. And I think that's where the problem lies. A lot of them changed their opinion for less than justified reasons, shall we say?
Ooh.
Because I think a lot of them just changed it, not based on... I'm not sure whether their original stated opinions weren't actually their opinions, or whether it's that they just decided that they wanted to be in on one side of the argument and got upset that they were suddenly on the other. So they did a heel turn just to swap sides to the side that they prefer. But it just pisses me off that none of them, not a single one of them, came out and said, this is what made me change my mind. And they started arguing for shit that they had been arguing against for years prior to that.
You want to talk about something else that might piss you off?
Go
for it. You saw the drama with the Van Gogh today, right?
I did not.
I
No?
saw it.
You saw it, Adam?
Yes, sir.
Oh, so we got something that Sanguine doesn't know about, Adam.
Do elucidate.
Well, a couple of activists with the group Just Stop Oil, which is a lazy fucking name. Come on, people.
Yep.
Decided to throw a can of tomato soup on Van Gogh's sunflowers at the National Gallery.
Oh, fuck them.
And then they super glued themselves to the wall.
Fuck them and leave them super glued.
Thankfully, this being an art gallery with priceless paintings.
It was under glass?
It was under glass, yes. The running joke has been that people should go and throw sunflowers at the Warhol Campbell soup paintings.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw this. One of my mutuals was responding to somebody else. But this checkmark has got the story here with the whole activist. This one tweet got my attention. What is worth more, art or life? Are you more concerned about the protection of a painting or the protection of our planet and people? That's a quote from the dumbasses here that were throwing soup on a painting.
Art can't be replicated. Your life can.
Well, somebody quote tweeted that and said, "I value that painting and history behind it more than their lives." Yes. Now face the wall.
Nice.
No.
So this other check mark said reported for violence, and surprise, surprise, there's a rose and a Ukrainian flag in there. Not their what comes before it.
Yep.
They've got EU and Switzerland and American and British flags, and apparently they teach social ecology and ecological economics at some foo-foo Frenchy university. Or no,
Makes
maybe
sense.
this is in Switzerland. They speak some French in Switzerland, don't they?
Belgium is the
Belgium,
one that
okay.
speaks a very similar. It's a different, but it's very similar. It gets confused.
Okay, well, French adjacent sounding university. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that works too. Yeah.
But yeah. Reported for violence. It's words.
Yep.
I mean, they glue themselves to the wall. Why can't you tell them to turn around? Oh, that's right, because they glue themselves to the wall like idiots.
And again, I say, don't waste the acetonitrile. If they want off the wall, they can pull themselves.
Well, I mean, that's the one thing I did give like the French credit for, because there was another video, because these activist videos where they glue themselves somewhere pop up. I wouldn't say like regularly, but like semi-regularly.
Oh, they come up. I'd say regularly.
Well, I mean, it's not like you can pinpoint like, oh, well, it's been 3 months, we're gonna get another one. But I mean, like, they come in waves.
Never that long.
But like, there was that one, oh god, that French video is probably, it's a couple of years old at least. I want to say, because I don't know, I remember if it was Monkey in the Morning or if it was Lords in the Night where they showed it. But like, you got these Frenchies, they've glued themselves to the ground, and the cops come up and they just grab them by the wrist and pull.
Nice.
Ooh.
And now this one girl, she takes it like a G, right? Just out, kind of, sit there and kind of, holding her hand. The guy next to her was the biggest pussy I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
Because that cop pulls his hand up and he just starts screaming. He lays down like he's been fucking shot.
I didn't know that their soccer team got involved in the protests.
Gonna learn today.
But like that was like one of the few moments, like, cause like one of the few moments where it's like, I almost respect the French for what they did there.
Yep.
It was sad to me that with like Extinction Rebellion and these groups like blocking roads and like the U.S. and whatnot. It's like the French are the ones that had the balls to just grab them by the arm, pull them up, and like get the fuck out of here.
Yep. See, the thing is that if I had my druthers and I had complete say over what would happen.
Steamroller.
Nope. I would leave them.
No, I'm saying for me.
Ah, okay. Yeah. For me, I wouldn't steamroller them. I wouldn't do anything like that.
Well, no. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't stop the steamroller once it was in motion, but it would be going slow enough to where they really had to decide if they were committed or not.
See,
it's about breaking their will. Make them rip the skin off their own hand and get up and get out the way.
And what I would do is something very similar. I would order that they don't get released from it. No solvent is allowed into the area. And then after that, food festival. About 40 feet away.
Ooh.
And make it known that anyone that gets food from the festival and then gives it to them is kicked out of the festival, no longer able to get food. If they want the food, they can come get the fucking food themselves.
I mean, like, people don't even do like hunger strikes properly anymore. I think the last one I heard about, where was that? It was somewhere here. Was it outside like the Supreme Court?
I think so. And they were getting food brought to them.
Well, like there was one guy, like he went ahead and dropped out or whatever, like, for his health. It was like, yeah, you're starving yourself, you idiot. That's the whole point. It's supposed to be showing the strength of your convictions. Apparently, your convictions aren't that strong when there's a medium pizza in front of you.
Yep.
Dude, who can eat a medium pizza all on their own? Come on.
Dude, I do a large on the regular. What are you talking about? Are you talking like the Chicago style, like bread bowl? thing? Because I
Yeah.
probably wouldn't want to do that.
A Chicago pizza lasagna. That
Yeah.
would be too much.
Yeah, I was talking about.
I gotta say,
deep
like, if
dish.
we're talking like pizza wise, I prefer like that. I want to get like one of those like New York style pizzas where you got to fold that shit in half.
Wait,
Mhm.
you can eat a full
New York
New
style?
York style
Yeah.
pizza.
Yeah.
I've never been to New York, so I've not had a true New York style pizza. I would not say that I could do that, but like, Mazzio's, Domino's, Papa John's, yeah, I could kill one of those easy.
If I'm hungry, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, dude, I've been a fat ass since back in the day, Adam. You don't even know. When I was a kid, my metabolism was way higher than it is right now. There was one night I ate. I think I was in grade school. I hadn't even hit like junior high yet, and I ate like a large. No, that was a medium pizza. That was a medium pizza by myself. Then I was still hungry, so hit up the Burger King back when we still had a Burger King. It had like 3 double cheeseburgers with large fries for each of them, and wash it down with like a 2-liter Pepsi.
See, it's not so much that I'm looking at it like, oh man, you're a fat person.
Oh no,
It's just
I'll tell
more.
you, I'm
It's
a fat ass. I'm
no.
skinny fat.
It's how do you? Because I'm sure I could go
He's trying to
through a
figure out the
pizza.
logistics.
Yeah, no, yeah, because it's like I'm sure I can go through like a full pizza,
I mean,
but it would take like hours.
like same way you eat an elephant,
I
Adam.
would be
One bite at a time, dude.
I couldn't do it in one sitting. I don't think.
I mean, I couldn't do it anymore. I mean, one
Okay,
the old folks weren't joking when I was growing up about once you hit 30, man, shit slows down.
Adam, the greatest amount of food that I've consumed in one sitting that I know is a obscene amount in one sitting.
Sanguine did the old 96er, didn't you?
Well, no, hold on.
I
Sanguine,
went to an all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue.
Oh.
And the way that specific Korean barbecue worked, you would order a grill at a time. A grill was 3 meats, 8 ounces of each meat. So 1.5 pounds of food came out in a go. I ate 6 pounds of meat.
Somebody clip that.
Sanguine, you
sat there
cooked
after a shift, and I ate 6 pounds of meat because I was fucking hungry after like a 16-hour EMS shift.
But you are a sanguine, though. That's the thing. and hey, you've cooked a hearty breakfast, and you've seen the amount that I ate compared to everybody else.
Yep.
It's not.
You had pocket rations.
Yeah, it's weird. But I would have eaten that again later on in the day. It's fucking. It's like Weibo when she was talking about how she has Hobbit eating habits.
Yep.
Second breakfast and whatnot.
Yeah. Oh, what the fuck? Holy shit, we're hobbits. No.
Oh no, man! I used to. When I was a kid, I would eat like a convict, dude. Like elbows on the table, crowding my plate. I was practically feral by dinner time.
Also, I forgot to bring up the other part. So, like I said, I ate the 6 pounds of meat because I ate 4 grills at the Korean barbecue. I also drank at the Korean barbecue. I had 4 22-ounce beers. So I had 88 ounces of beer and 6 pounds of meat in one sitting.
sounds like a lot. I'm not gonna
That's a lot.
That was
dude.
my most gluttonous night, and that was just because I had worked a 16-hour EMS shift. I had not had a break the entire goddamn day. I'm fucking starving. It's late at night. I want food, and I want to have food until I can't eat anymore because fuck it, I'm going back to work tomorrow. No clue if I'm going to be able to eat then. I'm going to have a store of food sitting in my stomach.
So
yeah.
wait, so you're not doing it just to make a next YouTube video?
No, I was not mukbanging it. I was just hungry, annoyed, and wanting some beer, wanting a unreasonable amount of dead animals. So I ate 6 pounds of meat in a single sitting.
I like it.
And that's not including the sides. That's not including the mushrooms. That's just the meat. I also had mushrooms. I also had sides. But 6 pounds of meat, 88 ounces of beer. And by the time that I finished, like I said, this was an all-you-can-eat place. Have you ever seen all-you-can-eat staff be thankful when you say, I'm done?
Yo. Sanguine.
Every time I go to the Chinese buffet, pretty much Sanguine.
Yeah.
Next time you come down my way, I'm taking you to this place that I just found. What was the terminology for Columbus?
Discovered?
I just discovered this new sushi place. And they have hold on.
Oh, is it one of the all-you-can-eat conveyors?
Yes, all you can eat. Oishi sushi.
Wait, I'm sorry. They have a conveyor?
Yeah,
No, they don't have
places.
it's not a conveyor.
Oh, this one doesn't
like
have the
pulley
conveyor
system?
No,
What's going on here?
It's a proper. They have a sushi bar and tables, and they're pretty good. They're hopping and during the lunch hours. But yeah, dude, we'll go down there and
I can put away a fuck ton of sushi.
Well,
I don't dig on raw foods.
Oh
so.
No, I had that's where I got dinner from tonight. So I was like, oh yeah, dude. Yeah, because you were talking about it earlier, and I was like, you know what? I think for science, I need to put this to the test and try out some American sushi. And it's weird. I heard it in a YouTube video where they were saying, hey, is Japanese sushi the same as American sushi?
Yeah, it was a Pikami Amano clip of Pikami talking about how American sushi is different than Japanese sushi. So she'll be visiting people in the States and they'll say, oh, we'll go up to a sushi place. It's really great sushi. And she's always too polite to say no. So she goes to a sushi place and she has it, and it's fucking different. But they always ask, oh, is it good? And she's too polite, and she always says, yes, it's very good.
Yep.
And then they say, oh, you like it? We can come here again. And she's always just internally screaming.
All I can say is I go by what I like. Although I gotta say, because this is probably the fourth time I've gone to this place, and I've always gotten the same, type of bit where it's salmon and eel, and
Unagi's fucking delicious.
Yo, yes, I love it. And the lady was like, "Oh yes, Adam, you want the rolls and then the 2 pieces of sushi. And I'm like, yeah, but hey, for the rolls this time, could you make it smoked salmon? I want to try that. And she's like, oh yeah, okay. And then when I go to pick it up, she's like, oh, so you tried the smoked salmon? Do you like it better? And I'm like, well, no, it's, give it a shot. And she's like, oh yeah, it has a better taste. And I'm like, to be honest, I would not be able to tell you the difference between that or the yellowtail or the white.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend
Wait,
try and
you
talk me
can't?
into trying sushi once.
You can't taste the difference between smoked and unsmoked?
I could taste the difference between smoked and unsmoked. That's why I order smoked.
Okay.
But for everything else, it's just like, I mean, it tastes good, but it's just like, it's just good. It's just a good taste. I can't differentiate, but that's for a lot of things for me. I'm like, I don't have the palate for it. I guess I'm not cultured, and then I have a bland taste in my food.
See, this is just
It's
making me
so
think.
heavy.
Hold on one moment. If this is too loud, let me know.
No, this is uh
So,
yeah.
that makes me think of this one Japanese cooking channel that I watch on YouTube every now and then, where it's a Japanese chef talking about everything. And apparently there's a phrase in Japanese that directly translates to stupid tongue. And it's effectively saying that someone isn't able to tell the difference between different flavors. The Japanese say that they have a stupid tongue, which I find hilarious.
Hey, Sanguine. So there's another story about Hans Niemann.
Hans Lehman, is he?
Hans Niemann is he's a chess player that we were talking about last night on Minions.
Who might be cheating with a vibrating butt plug.
Yeah.
Wait, what? He was cheating with
I love telling people this story for the first time. That reaction every time is like, wait, what?
a vibrating.
So
Such.
this young man named Hans Niemann, he was playing in a chess tournament against a grandmaster by the name of Magnus Carlsen a couple months back, and he beat Magnus Carlsen, which odds makers, very low probability they gave him of pulling that off. So Carlsen, he just he quits the tournament, withdraws, and immediately people are accusing this dude of cheating, and the way in which they figured he was cheating, which I don't think they've proved it, but like that's the speculation, is that he had somebody else running an AI program to kind of determine what moves he should make based off of his opponent's moves.
Robot card readers.
And to relay that information to him, they were like sending like Morse code or something to a vibrating butt plug that he had shoved up his ass.
No, is that real? That's not real.
That is
No, it's not real. Don't.
Yeah, but they said
it vibrates in Morse code.
he had been caught cheating online in like 2020.
Hold on. It vibrates. It's Morse code, but it's also Navajo. So you had to get the code breakers.
I'm assuming it was like a Morse code type thing, like that.
So
that
the easiest way to do this, I thought about it almost immediately after we talked about it yesterday.
I'm glad that this was taking up some of your free time, Saying that tickles me.
It's not taking up my free time. It's just a background process in my mind when I hear about this type of story.
Well, the fact that it's taking any bandwidth at all for you to try and figure out how he's going about this amuses me. That's all I'm saying.
So the way that immediately, or not quite immediately, but the way that very quickly popped into my head as the likely way that they're doing this is when you play chess professionally, you have a certain nomenclature that you use for moves.
Yeah, letters and numbers for the rows and.
Yep, letters and numbers for the rows, and then there's shorthand for each of the pieces.
Right.
They would just simplify down to the letters and numbers for the rows. So you would do the letter number code for the starting square, and then the letter number code for the ending square.
Right. Move this piece on this square to that square over there. Right.
Yep. It's this square to that square. And then you would look down and you would go, oh, that's a knight move. Or, oh, that's a rook move. Or, oh, that's a bishop move.
Exactly.
That still revolves around you being able to properly do the Morse code of this thing vibrating in your asshole.
Like, don't you think that would kind of like goose him a little bit at least? There's got to be some kind of tell going on there, don't you think?
I would hope.
I mean, how can you? I gotta wonder how somebody could just sit there stone faced while their prostate's getting vibrated.
Yeah, I would hope that there would be some sort of visual tell, but apparently, this dude might not have had one.
You just imagine the announcers on ESPN 8, the Ocho, covering it. Boy, Neiman looks really, really excited to be here tonight. He just keeps moving around in his seat.
He seems to vibrate with anticipation.
But yeah, apparently the New York Times is covering it. I haven't been able to read the article yet, but just the tweet says, since a chess.com report established a pattern of repeated cheating by Hans Niemann, there has been a crisis of confidence in the ability of chess organizers to reliably prevent and detect cheating. Have you tried shoving a finger up his ass? I mean, that might tell you pretty quick, don't you think?
Like I said, full-blown prison, butts room.
Spread your cheeks and lift your sack, Neiman.
Yep.
Gonna find
it's game
something.
time. I just think it's hilarious that this keeps popping up on my timeline.
Much like he did in his chair every time he had a move to make.
Because if I'm not, I think I only clicked on like one story of it. Maybe the Twitter algorithm's starting to like go into overdrive since Elon's about to buy it. Because I like to click on like the little cat videos and stuff, and so I'm actually getting more of those in my timeline than I used to.
Maybe they're ungunking all the shit that they gunked up.
Well, I'll know they're serious about cleaning up shop when I lose like half my followers.
You have a lot of bot followers?
A ton of them, dude. Like if I go and they keep adding on too. Like for the longest time, I could not get past 270 followers on Twitter, and this year, just like steady stream, I'm up to like 341. Oh, I actually lost one. I was at like 342.
Okay.
But if I go through my followers list, I gotta go through like 5-6 bots before I get to somebody that's like, oh, that's an actual person. I've interacted with them. 5-6 more bots. Oh, there's another actual person. Like I've been on stream with them. It's ridiculous, dude. Like I'm not somebody sitting here trying to chase follower counts or anything like that. I do like look in on it from time to time, check my analytics, get an idea of like which of my tweets were getting the most traction.
Which of your tweets was making numbers?
Yeah, I've realized I realized a long time ago actually. It's like if you treat it like a game, you can game the system, of course, right? You can gain followers, you can gain impressions, all that kind of stuff. And so from time to time, I'll get bored. It's like, all right, what's my high score? Oh, what I think like 40, 50,000. I think it's the highest I've had in a month. Let's see if I can go for 55 or something like that. But I'm not chasing followers. I like having a smaller follower count if it's actual people. People that I interact with.
Yep.
Because But I've noticed when I check my analytics, it's always some like random ass tweet that I put no thought into before I just fired it off. It's almost like the brain fart tweets, you know?
Yep.
I think like my highest one to date was replying to Jim Heelis. You guys know Jim, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's from like the old Lords of the Night chats, and he pops up from time to time in Monkeys.
Yep.
I was trying to jog Adam's memory in case he didn't remember Jim.
No, I have no idea who this guy is. Sorry.
I think he was one of Satsu's followers, and that's how.
I think so.
Anyway, yeah, he was also in the comic book curation chat a lot back in the day too, because he actually made his own comic, Blue Mamba. Check it out. But yeah, he responded to was like women posting their L's, I think, was the account, which I get a chuckle out of those gimmick accounts and stuff. But it was a picture of this chick sitting in a room and said something like, I've been streaming for like 4 fucking hours and I only made like $12.71. I hate my life.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim pointed out that it's like, look at there's a screenshot from TikTok. It's like, look at the handle. That's a dude.
Okay.
And so I fired off a reply to Jim, just joking. I said, well then, that's the most awkward 1271 I've spent in a while. My phone didn't stop fucking notifying me for like 2 days.
Very nice.
Like it had like over 300 likes in a few hours, and then it just kept like steady stream over the next 24. I'm still getting likes on that from time to time, like just randomly, like 1, 2 here and there.
Mm-hmm. And shit, I just saw the time.
Oh yeah.
It is.
Oh, well, before we do like parting thoughts or anything, you want to check the side chat? I dropped a video link from Twitter in there, referencing something that we talked about earlier. I think people get a kick out of.
Oh, the one from Colonizer Archer. Daka.
Yeah, that second one, because I think the first one was just the Ben Shapiro tweet from the suicide discussion.
So let's see, screen share. Window. Nope. This one. There we go.
Make sure you share the audio too, because it.
Let me quickly redo that then. And stop screen share. Let me start this back over from the start. And share audio this time. Share screen, share audio.
You gonna play it?
Yep, I'm pulling it up right now.
Ooh.
Everyone see?
I can see, yeah.
I've written several motion
And you can hear?
pictures,
Yes.
but I want to tell you about a movie called Maximum Overdrive, which is the first one I've directed.
Wow. What in the dickens is going on around here?
A lot of people have directed Stephen King novels and stories. And I finally decided if you want something done right, you ought to do it yourself. I've written several motion pictures.
Tell me those eyes.
A movie called Maximum Overdrive.
Started, didn't it?
Yeah, it's just auto replays.
Yep. I quickly went to go pull something out of the fryer, so.
But tell me those eyes don't scream Colombian booger sugar. All right.
Yeah.
I dare you. I double dog dare you.
They definitely do. So, shall we go to parting words then? Parting thoughts? Since it has been going on 2.5 hours.
I'll leave you a parting thought. Don't do cocaine, but do watch Maximum Overdrive. It's a horrible movie, but it's a hoot.
Like?
Well, I mean, it's got Emilio Estevez in it back in the day, and it's got a pretty decent soundtrack because I think he just mostly paid for like AC/DC songs.
Mm-hmm.
And Assassin's leaving a parting thought. The Belgian government had no problem whatsoever in offing that girl because she was white and a demographic undesirable compared to all the refugees they want for replacement. I like my parting thought better. I thought it was funnier. Adam, what about you?
Adam?
I think
You still there, man?
Did he go to sleep? I didn't hear any snoring or anything.
Nope.
Yep.
He muted himself.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
Not a problem. You have any parting words?
Parting words. Well, hey, I had some fun chatting with you, even though we had some pretty
heavy topics.
Heavy topics, yeah. But
that's why we front loaded them tonight.
Well, honestly, I think we navigated these choppy waters pretty well. Yeah, I think it was a good discussion. It might not have been the norm for a lot of the other Friday evening Minion shows, but I think
we didn't even mention cannibalism until right now.
I think we did a good job. But as far as are we closing the show? Is this?
Yep.
Okay. Well, as far as closing the show, I'd like to give my output. Hey, as always, thank you, Sanguine, for letting me join you on a Friday show.
Always fun and always good to have you.
Yeah. And as far as the panel and the chat and people who watch in the future, God bless and I love y'all.
Part of me was really hoping, just because it would have been fucking hilarious for you after saying, yeah, it was fun being on, thanks for having me, and to everyone else on the panel and to chat, go fuck yourselves.
I don't know. I figured he would have. I was thinking he was going to end up like more Edward R. Murrow, like good night and good luck.
Nice.
Yeah, maybe on a April Fool's night or something,
And I'll leave off with my standard of, if you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you. And with that, have a good night, all. The zoo is closed.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
You gonna say goodbye, Adam?
Goodbye. Oh shit. Oh well.
There we go. No,